Well, the Equinox and I, we go to some of my toughest sites, and it really does well. Well, welcome back to Finding America. Well, unfortunately, Chris had to work all weekend, so I had a terrible dilemma. I had a brand new Equinox 800 sitting at my house that Calico sent me for review and testing, and it was just screaming for me to take it out. And I thought, well, who am I to deny it? There's something I've always wanted to do with the Equinox. I've always wanted to take it to some of my hardest hit spots and see how it would do there. And, well, that's exactly what I decided to do. Now, of course, no place is ever hunted out, but I had 3 spots in mind that have been particularly tough to hunt of late. One was a very old park that's a favorite of mine. The other one was a permission I have at a courthouse. And the third spot was a big, beautiful Victorian mansion in a nearby field. So I started out at one of my favorite parks. Well, there she is, the new Equinox 800 that I am using and reviewing for Calico. I've got this on loan for a while, so I brought it to a park here that I have beat very hard, but it used to be a fairgrounds, and I pulled a lot of old coins out of here. The signals have kind of dried up recently, so I thought I'd bring this out and see what it can do. Now, I've got it in stock settings, except for the threshold. I upped it to around 4 because I like to hear a threshold. That way you know when you're canceling out over iron. And I'm also using the Minelab wireless headphones. Got them paired up and they are very comfortable. I do like those. And I'm also using a brand new White's TRX pinpointer. And we'll be testing and reviewing that too. Calico sent that. And I've also got a Minelab Profine 35 that we'll be checking out a little later on. Oh boy, the Equinox found something. I'm telling you, the signals are so hard to get in here. But I tell you, the reason I have 2 plugs opened is I was getting a signal and I thought it was over here. Dug down, pulled out a huge nail. I mean, big nail. Matter of fact, here it is. Look at the size of that sucker. So I got that out and I was like, well, shoot. Then I ran the machine back over. I got a 13 right there, 12-13 signal. And I just popped it out. I'm going to say it's about 5 inches. But can you see that in the hole there? Hopefully it's coming through for you. Right there. That appears to be a nickel. And that is amazing. So, I don't even know what it is yet. I have not pulled it out. Oh, it's a buffalo. Look at that. Ooh, that Equinox sniffed that sucker out. Now, my initial signal was like a 17-18. Once I cleared out that nail, it was banging on 12 and 13. Oh yeah, and I got a date on this one. So let me get this cleaned up and I will show you what date it is. I'll tell you what, that was impressive. Well, there it is, 1936. And there's the backside. Oh man, awesome. That's the 3rd signal I've dug and I found a coin. That's amazing for right here. Now, I've dug a lot of silver out of here. I've got 1 seated out of here. I've got several barbers, lots of mercs, Indians, buffs, and V-nickels. I'll tell you one thing I've never found here, a silver quarter. It's that was the highest denomination, was a dime out of here. But let's keep going, see if we can pull something else out. Well, my next signal was giving me a 12. I had nickel on the brain again, so dug down, saw it was going to be big iron. I pulled it out though. It's cool. It looks like to be a big stake. Now, this could have been a stake for one of the tents at the fair. And the fair started in the late 1800s. Before that, they had a horse track and a car racing track, early 1900s. But that is a pretty cool find. I like it. Well, next signal was ringing in on a 6 on the Equinox. I dug down and I got an iron back overall button, or coat button. Looks to be a plain one, but it's definitely 20s or 30s. Not bad little find. It was about 6 inches. I got another button. It was ringing up 10 on the Equinox 800. It was about 4 inches down. Check it out. It's another overall or jeans button, but it says Cookville. A couple stars on the bottom and something in the middle. I can't make out. It's another iron back. That's a variety I haven't found, so to check that one out. But I'm sure it's going to be 20s or 30s. But very cool. A couple things I missed with the E-Track. Unfortunately, that park hunt was cut short by a really bad thunderstorm that was heading my way. But the next morning, I headed out bright and early to my courthouse permission. And I headed straight to a section of the grounds that I'd hit the last time I was there. Now, the last time I was there, it was tough even getting some signals that were good enough to dig. So, how'd the Equinox do? Just check this out. That signal was ringing kind of high. I get a 31 every once in a while. But dug down about 7-8 inches. And I got myself a penny. Let's see. Yep, weedy. I'm going to have to toothpick this one. I'll be right back and let you know what date it is. Well, this one is a bit crusty, so I'm going to have to wait to get home and clean it up. Only thing I can definitely tell you, the first two numbers are 19. So that's about all I can make out. But I kind of knew that before I started cleaning it. I'll tell you what, this area I'm in, I have pounded the heck out of this area. And looks like I got another weedy. That's the second one out of this area. And it was ringing 26, occasionally 29. It was about 6-7 inches. This one's a lot cleaner than the last one. That's a 1941. So, 2 Wheaties, and I pounded this so hard when I made the video under the hanging tree, and then I came back like a week later and I was just playing around. Now the soil was a lot drier the second time and I didn't get very much. We've had a little bit of rain, and I'm getting down there and getting some of these nice deep ones. Very impressed with the Equinox so far. Alright, it's only 20 seconds after I filled that last hole, and that was right here where I got that weedy. Moved my coil over, got another 26, and let you see it in the hole there. That's another weedy, I'm assuming. Yep. And another clean one. This time we have a 1936. That is awesome. I mean, yeah, this one was about 6 inches as well. Of course, the moisture helps from the rain, but this machine is a heck of a processor, much quicker than my E-Track, so it stands to reason it's going to find a few things that I couldn't get with it. Now, I know some of you may be wondering what programs and settings I'm running. I'm in Part 2. I got the volume up to 25. I'm running sensitivity at 22. Iron bias, I'm running 2. Because we do have some nails here and they were high toning on me. I put the iron bias at 2, and that seems to pretty much solve that problem. So, yeah, very cool. Let's see what else we get. 10 seconds after I got that last one. First weedy here, second weedy here. This hole I get a 17. It finally settles down on a 20. I'm going to dig it anyway, but I can see a little imprint here. And check it out, down here, pretty much on edge. Looks like I have another one. Wow, sure do. And this one looks to be a 1940. That is amazing. So I think on edge the numbers weren't quite climbing as high as the others. Well, this next one was giving me a really mixed signal, but I had some numbers climbing into the 30s. So I wanted to check it out, and I'd say about 8-9 inches down. I got another weedy. So that's 4 in a very confined area here that I have not gotten before. So that really says something about this machine. It really sniffs out the signals. Appears this one's going to be a 1945. I also pulled out 2 silver dimes right in this area too, so kind of hoping to sniff one of those out. Well, this is a nice find. Cleaned out a junk button right here. Pretty modern. Then I was getting a 13-14 signal. As you can see, it's pretty deep. Probably 8 inches. And I popped it out and I saw the edge, and I haven't even looked at it, but I have a feeling I know what it is. You see the edge right there? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a war nickel. It was reading a little bit high. Oh yeah, heck yeah. Oh man, I love digging war nickels. Check it out. 1944. There you go. Cleaning up nice too. And it looks like a Philadelphia. There you go. A little bit of, actually, that's my first silver with Equinox. Did a really good job on that. It was definitely hanging around 13, but occasionally going to 14. And now that I see it, it all makes sense. Awesome find. Well, this is really cool. This is where I pulled the war nickel. Got another signal ringing 12, just locked on 12. So I cut a plug off the back end of this. Took down about 4 inches. Scoop this out. Check it out, another nickel. Looks like a 63. So it looks like we had a nice old Jefferson spill right there. Very cool. I was getting a nice 14-15 signal. Dug down about 4 or 5 inches. And I got an old key pop out. Definitely has some age. Looks like a Yale. Yep. And very cool. It's definitely probably 40s. So, like finding those old keys. Well, here we go. Got an awesome hole right here. Ringing in at a 13, and then all of a sudden it jumped up in numbers. And I was like, well, so I scooped out a bunch of dirt, about 6-7 inches down. And I have been over this spot, I can't even tell you how many times over the last 3 years. But check out what's on my drop cloth. There are 2 coins, and I don't know. One's a nickel and one appears to be a penny. I'm gonna pull the penny out. Yeah, okay, we got a Wheatie. Wow, look how clean that came out. Jeez Louise. Wow, 1926. That came out beautiful. But check it out. I got a nickel in the hole, and I have not even looked at it yet. Oh, it's a buffalo. Wow. Oh man, I can think it's a 23. I can see it from here. What a gorgeous buffalo. Oh, look at that. 1923. Get you a better look here. I see the backs. Oh man, what a beautiful coin. So there you go. 1923 buffalo and 1926 Wheatie. Same hole. How freaking awesome is that? Woohoo! Way to go, Knox. Yeah, I thought I'd give you another shot of these. They just look so beautiful together. Both of them in gorgeous condition. This soil is so kind to nickels and pennies. Looks like they were dropped yesterday. Well, next signal, pretty cool little find. I was hitting 13, 14, and it was down there pretty good. About 6 inches. And check out what I pulled out of the ground. That thing is awesome. It was a little pin. A little chickie. It's a little duck pin. Definitely has some age on it. And missing the pin on the back. Probably some little girl had that on her when she came to visit the courthouse. Very cool. I have to say, I was super impressed by how the Equinox had performed at the courthouse, and I was absolutely raring to go the next morning to my next spot. Now this time I'd be at a huge old Victorian mansion. I'd also be hunting a nearby field. Now this place has been hunted really hard, but I have to say, the Equinox 800 excelled at this spot and even found a couple really killer finds. Well, down here further in the field, and got a 15 on the Equinox. Dug down about 6 inches and got a nice late 1800s bullet. That's pretty nice. I've been digging tons of shell casings, some small buckshot, a little buck and ball. Now I just got this. Definitely a lot of small game hunting over here. Well, still swinging around in this field. Got an 11 on the Equinox. Dug down about 5 inches, and this came out. Let's see if you can make that out, but that's a head of a lead toy dog. Very cool. I'll get it cleaned up and you can get a better look at it. Well, I got a 10 on the Equinox and I went ahead and dug it. And check it out. I got a real nice horse tack buckle. Now, believe it or not, I have found 3 of these. Exact same style. In about past year and a half. I really like them because they have this braided tongue. It's really cool. It's a nice wrought iron piece. Well, this thing was ringing 15 on the Equinox. Pulled 2 huge, gigantic nails out of the hole. And then I popped this. And I really don't know what it is. It kind of feels like lead. I'm gonna have to get that home and clean it up, but if it's something interesting, I will definitely let you know. Definitely looks pretty interesting. Well, when I got home that night, I definitely saw a design on that lead piece. And I could make out 2 people standing on either side of something that was in the middle, but unfortunately there was a hole right in the middle. Couldn't tell what that was. But what I could make out was there was an early soldier standing on the right hand side with his musket beside him. Now you notice there's a line underneath the feet of where they're standing, and underneath that line is a very early 1840s, 1850s style heraldic eagle with its wing spread. Now I believe this is the lead backfill to a rosette. Now rosettes were usually brass or copper, and then to give them some weight and support, they would fill the backside in with lead. So oftentimes the lead piece would fall out of the rosette, but it would still have the design on it because it was basically being poured into what you would consider a mold. This is one seriously awesome find, but as of yet, not completely identified. And if any of you out there recognize the piece or have any ideas about it, please let me know. Well, this time I got a 17 and a real solid signal, so dug it up, and I tell you what, I have no idea, because this is a really bizarre piece. Alright, I don't know if it was part of a trophy, but looks like a baseball, and it appears to be some type of lead. It has a little stand here. It's a very strange piece. Never seen anything like it, but I am guessing part of a very old baseball trophy. Well, next signal was ringing 13 like a nickel, which is also how big iron seems to ring up on the Equinox. And I got a nice old iron chisel. Very cool. Well, I've dug down here and looks like I got my second horse tack buckle for the weekend. That's pretty cool. Definitely the wagon and buggy days there. Well, got a 14 on the Equinox. And I'll tell you what, this machine's seriously impressive. I ended up getting the remains of a compact lid, about the size of a $50. But I'm going to tell you, this thing was every bit of 10 inches down there. How deep that hole is. That's just amazing. I can just drop my leash in there and bury it. So, very impressive depth. It was a strong signal. There's nothing faint or weak about the signal at all. So, just very impressive performance. Well, I literally just dug that lead baseball over here. Came over here, got another 17, dug down, and there it is. Popped out of the hole. I think it's a very old cufflink. Yeah, and it does have some kind of design on it. Tell you what, let me get this brushed off. Let's see if we can see anything a little bit better. Well, I still can't make it out. It may be a triangle of some type, but I will get this home and see if I can't get some more out of this, but it is very old. Look at the style. Very old cufflink. So I am going to stick this in my fragile box and we'll work on it when I get home. Well, the first thing I did when I got home was clean that cufflink. And in short time, I could make out the design. And when I saw what the design was, my jaw hit the floor. Now the design depicted an Indian chief with his war tomahawk in front of him. And believe it or not, when I saw that design, I knew exactly who that cufflink once belonged to. You see, the homeowner who had lived in that house a very long time and grew up in that house had a father who owned an old Pontiac dealership for many, many years. Now, this house actually sat on top of a high hill that overlooked where his old Pontiac dealership once stood. And this piece was an original 1930s, 1940s Pontiac advertising cufflink that her father wore every day when he went to work at his dealership. I tell you, that is just such an amazing find. And I'm going back, and I'm going to give her father's cufflink back to her. And after all these years, it's going to be back home again. Well, that Equinox 800, that was a seriously impressive machine. And if you're thinking about purchasing one, I can definitely recommend that machine. Now, I also put some links down in the video description to both the Equinox 600 and the Equinox 800 if you'd like to get more information at the Kilico website about it. And if you decide you'd like to purchase one, I'd appreciate it if you shop through our links, because every time you buy anything at the Kilico website through our links, it helps support my channel, Finding America. Please don't go away just yet. I've got some really cool historical photos coming up in just a few seconds. So remember, history always makes that find a treasure. And I can't wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.